They're getting close to start. Why don't we go around and each of you say, what are you hoping to get out of this thing?
I'm really interested to hear more about the CRM story, but also about the HCM story. As you see these two lining up, Salesforce is now going after the HR service delivery market, which is where ServiceNow has had a solution for a while, and ServiceNow is going the other direction to seeing how we tip these two markets off.
I like looking at agent management. And right now, there's all these agentic silos that are being set up, and ServiceNow has to make the story of why it should be the center for all agentic activity.
You know what mine is. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? So it's going to be CRM. And again, maybe I'm old school, but I'm a bit skeptical of companies that call themselves CRM with missing pillars. The service ops stuff they have is spectacular. Sales ops to start. Do they compete with, say, Salesforce or on pure CRM? No. Now, maybe look, I am wide open because I love ServiceNow. Well, we'll see what they do. I mean, I'm just...
You know what, though, Paul? I think they missed out on opportunities when they called themselves customer workflows, because the CRM buyer saw customer workflow and didn't think that applied to them.
Well, they're changing that anyway. I know that for a fact.
Well, that change happened when Colin got here. Yeah. That you could kind of mark a line of delineation between them talking about customer workflows and them pivoting to be CRM.
Look, the biggest pivot I think they made, or the strongest impact they had, was when they recognized that the customer service ops was actually impacted customer experience, and then they linked the two. The trigger was Disney, the Disney Plus launch day. The reality is that once they made that link, it propelled them.
All right, let her rip.
So far, I haven't quite seen the proof points that I was looking for, quite honestly. Of course, Bill is selling, and to a large audience, I think he's giving the right type of pitch, but I'm not seeing the follow-up on his talking so far that convinces me that there's this next generation of CRM out there.
I was looking for a substantial commitment to CRM, I guess, because they've been indicating they were having it, or they indicated moving toward it, but I didn't see it. Back to what I said earlier, the messaging around AI is the same messaging I've heard from everybody with the same hyperbolic claims. At the same time, technically, I'm sure they're building everything and it's going to be really tight and done really well. So, that part I'll never, ever take away. I'm disappointed, actually, though, in overall way they're approaching things. And
I don't think they did as much as they could have in terms of just saying how they can be the CRM company of the agentic era. Maybe that was part of what was going on at the end there, because Jensen was doing a really good job of this explaining why ServiceNow is so important, and kind of why they have that opportunity to do what they're talking about doing. That phrase about 21st century problems can't be solved by 20th century technology, and how that applies to what they want to do and what they want to be. I think that would have been great if they factor that in. And also this general thought about all these companies talking about how they're the one, the only one doing this or doing that. They should be paying attention to all these other vendors saying that. And then how do they sound different? How do they message different based on that? I mean, if you got the technology and you got one of the best endorsements that you can get in this area, use that. That's a differentiator. So you don't have to say all the same things that everybody else is saying. And you've got the tools and you got the opportunity to do that. I just think it was a missed opportunity from that.
Yeah. Look, ultimately, they do have the tools. They have the actual strategy, too.
And they got the people.
Yeah. They've got everything they need to be the world's largest unicorn continuously. But they didn't prove it today.
A new day, a new keynote. Rebecca, what did you think of yesterday's keynote?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great energy, a lot of great things to share. I would have loved to hear more from customers on the CRM side, but I thought it was really interesting, the Bill going after CRM. And in the meeting we had with him later, he sort of walked that back a little bit and said, we're not looking to replace Salesforce. We're not going to have any of this kind of locker room talk about other vendor bashing, but I think it'll be really interesting to see how customers interpret that and how they take it home.
A lot of that same sentiment is said on some of these keynotes at other conferences. I think their customers would rather hear a little bit more about how do they work together. I think all the vendors would get a lot out of it if they focus a little bit more on how their agents will work together with agents that aren't theirs.
That's why the Fabric announcement is so important, but also it was great to see Jennifer from UKG on stage talking about, they have a huge UKG made a huge investment in AI. They've got their own AI technology, but having her come on to talk about how they're working with ServiceNow really is about helping their customers take advantage of technology across the entire portfolio.